Hello and welcome to Mr. B's Tech Corner. My name is Sam Bourgeois, the Educational Technology Coordinator here at the Lower Yukon School District. Today I just want to tell you a little bit about the updates that are associated with the latest 2012-2013 Lower Yukon School District Teacher and Administrator images. What we've done this year is update your operating system. This is your OS, your operating system. This is the 10th rendition of Apple's OS, so it's OS X. We are on 10.7, which is now called Lion. So if you hear any of those terms, that's what that means to you. Now, the difference between Lion and the previous version of OS X is fairly major, I would say. One of the big differences is the introduction of the App Store on your dock or in your native to your operating system. You now have an App Store that looks and feels a lot like the App Store that you might be familiar with inside of the iTunes Store. Okay, the next thing that I want to talk about after the App Store is, of course, licensing. So how does all this translate into educational terms? How does that affect you, an individual, inside of a larger organization like Lower Yukon School District? Well, before we get too far, let's talk about iTunes. Okay, iTunes, first of all, is an individual user application. So what you're going to want to do first is sign into your iTunes store and authorize your computer. This is a computer that's new to you. Whether or not the device was yours last year or not, this is a new image. So go ahead and launch your iTunes application. If you can't find your iTunes, just click on that spotlight tool in the top and type in iTunes and it'll pop up for you. Otherwise it should be in your application menu. Okay, now the first thing that we're going to do when iTunes pops up, it says, what is your account name and password? If you don't already have an Apple ID, I strongly encourage you to create one now. Most of us will already have one. If you're an instructional leader here in the Lower Yukon School District, you've been issued an iPad. So you must have an Apple ID to really make the best of your iPad. So I highly recommend you do that. Okay, and I went ahead and entered my credentials, and iTunes popped up and it said a new version of my iPad software is available. Now I happen to have an iTunes or an iPad plugged into my computer right now. I'm just going to say cancel for now. We're not going to worry about an iPad right now. What I'm really concerned about is this iTunes Store and what I was telling you just a moment ago about signing into your account and authorizing your computer. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me make my iTunes a little bit bigger for you here. And I'm going to go to the top menu to Store. And I'm going to say, authorize this computer. I just signed in. I'm going to say, authorize this computer. And what that tells Apple is, anything that I do on this computer is authorized by me, Samuel Bourgeois, the owner of that iTunes account, which is in the cloud. It's online. And anything that I purchase in that cloud, anything I purchase under those account rules and terms, can be sent to any device I choose. Now, as far as devices go, I can have many devices. I can have iPods, I can have iPhones and iPads, and I can have computers. But when you're talking about the iTunes library, the one that I'm about to set up on this particular computer, I'm only allowed to have 5 at a time. Now, I've just authorized the second of my 5. I have a personal computer at home that is also authorized. So I'll say OK. And now I'm ready to go. And since I've authorized this computer, I'm going to go ahead and look at my purchases. And it says items purchased in the iTunes Store automatically are added to this playlist. No big deal. You can see that I've got Big Miracle. It's a movie I purchased some time ago. I've got the iTunes sidebar giving me a feed of some of the music that I like and I follow. But what's really important is right down here at the lower right hand side it says download previous purchases. Go ahead and click on that, and I'm going to pause the video right here while it's loading, and we'll pick up there in just a moment.